You don't have to do a lot to Lacock to make it look like Cranford. Chuck a load of mud and horse manure on the floor, cover up some shop fronts and a red letterbox, and you're pretty well there.
When you're walking down a street and you look around, you think the whole place is Cranford. It's great. It's wonderful.
Lacock is like having a huge studio.
It's breathtakingly beautiful and so perfect for anything, you don't have to change anything.
It's like it's been built for filming. Tet recce is something you do a couple of weeks before you start filming, and you take the crew round the heads of department, and it's a chance for everyone to visit the sites and locations where you're going to film and talk about potential problems, talk about how you're going to film, what directions you're going to film.
And just really telling people, you know, what's good, what's bad, where we can shoot, where we can't shoot.
I need to make sure that everybody's thought about everything we're doing, and we've talked about everything we're doing, even if it's something basic that I don't see any problem with. So we don't turn up and we've got all the technical trucks parked right in front of where we want to start filming. We've got a crane. The whole street's covered in snow.
This is for the night scene. At the very end of the film, with all the ladies walking towards the assembly rooms, we crane down as they walk towards us. There's going to be snow everywhere, so there'll be a nice glow coming from the snow. What's going to happen is it's going to get dark. I'm going to switch these lights on, and if they're not in the right place, I won't have time to change them. So people will be in a lot of trouble.
We're lucky because the people of Lacock are remarkably tolerant because, of course, they have to walk down the street and trudge the mud into their houses, and we're there asking them to be quiet and taking up all their space.
You're just aware that all those people have been locked in their houses. They're not allowed out until we finished a shot.
I live in Lacock, I lived here about 10 years. Some people complain, but I actually love it. I really think it's a great week.
We try and encroach as little as we possibly can, although we're going to cover all their village with covering, board up their pub and turn it into Johnson's stores. So it's tricky.
We have to manage the people getting people through the village. So we have the police here, we have marshals here, and we hold people when we're turning. We need the street clear. With a bit of work, everybody in the village is on side, which is fantastic.
When they say, you know, you guys can be in it this time as extras, we love it. There's so many of us that are in it, absolutely think it's great. So.
What the art department does in the space of an hour to transform those streets and is just extraordinary.
You look one way and you see all the equipment, the crew, the camera, people in tracksuits and trainers, and then you turn round.
And there's Cranford.
And you're in Cranford.
Cranford land.
We're painting windows, we're putting in little set bills to cover things that we can't change. And of course the cover goes down on the ground.
We have a mixture of sand and gravel and soil. 70 tonnes of it comes here and gets put down on the two streets and is swept up again and taken away very quickly and put down very quickly. So it's a big operation.
Lovely working with no yellow lines and no parking restrictions, isn't it? It's quite magical.
A lot of the time is spent covering the doors up. We do false doors to pop into places, pop them in for the shot and take them out for the shot. So that's been a lot of the work in the street.
In front of Red Lion, we're building a run of what we call flattage, which is just wooden paint to look like a solid shop. It will be Johnson's store in the story, and it'll be up for about 3 days of filming. We'll cover the post office post box, take down the signs and change that into a shop back in there.
This is Miss Galindo's shop, otherwise known as Mr. Potter's house, who actually lives here. We had to put a fake door in over the door that has a clock in it. We are in Miss Pole's garden. This was, a couple of days ago, Richard and Sharon's parking space, and the garden was created over 2 days.
The clean-up crew came in after we'd finished, and while we were filming in an adjacent street, they cleared all the mud off the high street, and all the cars came back in and completely obscured the beauty of the place, because suddenly there's 400 cars all double parked and sort of in a way, and it's a shame that it's not left as an empty high street.
We're here at Pinewood doing a night exterior. It's a scene in which the ladies are travelling back from a party at Mrs. Jameson's on Halloween night, and they've wound themselves into a frenzy of fear.
Sirs, you are quickening your pace. We cannot match your vigour.
We had to basically create
a lane out of black drapes and 6 bushes and a lot of fog to create Darkness Lane.
All there was on the floor was a kind of strip of gravel and 5 fir trees in pots. In pots, Stan. I thought, well, we could have done this in my garden.
Today we've been asked to make a fog effect in the studio. A heavy fog machine there which sort of puts the fog distance, stays low, stays on the ground, and then we've got another smoke machine which will pump into the air just to create a sort of really sort of dense effect.
Screech! There is an owl which eventually swoops past the sedan chair, scaring the footman even more and scaring the ladies as well.
There's a stick with a red light on the end of it that's there to help the actresses imagine where the owl will be in the finished product.
It is but bats, I'm quite certain. Bats? They're just diabolically large. We cannot match your figure.
When we came back to doing the second Cranford, Alex, of course, who was quite a little boy in the first one, completely grown. In fact, I didn't recognise him when I first saw him.
I've grown about a foot, actually, which I know sounds quite a lot, but I have. And the first thing that everybody said to me as soon as he saw me was, "Wow, haven't you grown a lot?"
By the time there's smoke, the train is right there. You see what I mean?
Right. Have it ready there, feed the smoke in, and then when it's just the right, just go jump.
Yeah,
That's it.
Turning over, feet, and smoke up. 3, 2, 1, action. Got it.
A cow actually goes on the train lines, which I have let out by mistake. Unfortunately, the train hits the cow.
No, not that.
Okay, pads on Gary, plastic glass out.
It's quite hard to do a forward roll because of my corset, because I can't bend.
Oh, I see.
More than that, that's all I can do with my tummy.
Right, okay.
We've been doing a lot of throwing ourselves around today. It's really hot in there as well, so there's kind of, you've got to battle with your costume and lying on the ground and making sure that you hit certain angles.
Camera set. And 3, 2, 1, action!
Well, as the carriage goes over, the stuntman did the higher fall, so he was falling through frame from a height. That went very well. And the actors are very good, so yeah, it looked good.
In a world where Cranford only exists, in a land before time, one hand can save the world.
Okay, darling.
Thank
you.
Okay.
Out of my way! Peggy! Peggy!
I'm on top of the upturned carriage and I'm looking for Peggy and I find her, kind of dazed
There I
and
am,
confused.
cut hand.
Yeah.
It's quite dramatic.
Peggy, can you hear me? Peggy, can you hear me?
William?
Take my hand.
When you film it on location and it's nighttime and the moon's out and amazing sets, that sort of does so much of the imaginative work for you always, doesn't it?
So we were lucky to have done it that way round.
Yeah.
So when you come in here and there's a little bit of patch of grass and a machine making the snow and you remember what you did 2 weeks ago.
In the scene that I'm just about to do, the first scene of the day, I'm supposed to look dead because I've just come off the train crash.
Still on the stage. Snow.
From a makeup point of view, that scene follows on from a scene that we did in Lacock, where it's snowing on the little boy and they were supposed to think he's dead. So suddenly they see that the little snowflake has melted and they know that he's still warm and he's alive. And we just used a sort of polythene bag, pumped a de-icer into it, sprayed water on the top, and it came into little icicles, and put it on his lip, and hey presto.
I have to hold a little mirror over his mouth, and we see that it gets frosted up and that there is breath, that he is alive. The wrangler of the misted mirror just sort of was told, can you make it a small piece of breath, like a little circle of breath? So then I turn around and I give him the mirror, and he's just sort of invented this thing, cutting a hole in the bottom of a polystyrene cup. I mean, it's just brilliant. And he's just sort of, I said, have you ever done that before? He said, no, I haven't done that. Just amazing sort of instant solutions, and you get a little perfect little circle of breath.
Too heavy, way too heavy. Just keep it running.
We were taking snow effects and smoke effects, and we were actually filming various types of snow and smoke, and then later on the visual effects people would take those parts and then resize them and then put them into the frame. If you shoot enough different elements that are enough different sizes and different textures and different types, it then gives them a broad palette to be able to take all of those and then change them and do what they want with them, actually. So it's quite useful.